Go.
Alright, let's start over again. We are live at the Yamaha AV Experience Studio. This is the home theater demonstration room. And today we're going to talk about the introduction to home theater system and why you should choose Yamaha AVENTAGE home theater AV Receivers. Right? So let's start. For those of you out there who are still new to this, we'll go through some of the basic questions because it's a basic introduction, right? So what is a home theater system? A home theater system is very simple. At the heart of it, you have this. This is what we call an audio-visual receiver, or an AVR for short, and this is the heart of your system. With this, you connect all your favorite devices, Apple TV, Singtel, StarHub TV, PlayStation, Xbox. You connect to this, and from here, you'll connect it to your television. So all the sound processing goes through here, and it will pass the video signal to your TV. And most importantly, for sound, right? This is for home theater system. You want surround sound, so that when you're watching movies, you can feel everything happening around you. You know, whether you're on the ocean or you have bullets flying over you. So all the speakers are connected to this. And so the AVR is the hub of your home theater system. So very simple. It's basically, what is a home theater system? A multi-speaker surround sound system with the AVR at the heart of it. So when you talk about home theater system, a lot of people throw around different numbers. 5.1, 5.1.2, 7.1.4. What do they mean? Okay, three numbers. Very easy. The first number is the number of speakers you have on the ground. So for example, let's take 5.1. Let's talk about the 5 first. 5 speakers, right? So center, left, right, rear left, rear right. That is 5 speakers already, right? So what about 7.1? It's basically that 5 speakers, you add another 2 in the center, so you get a better surround sensation. Now then, where does the second number come in? Second number is the subwoofer. So if you have a 5.1 system, you have 1 subwoofer in the system. Some people, they want more boom, they get 2 subwoofers. So that will be a 5.2. Nowadays, you get the third number thrown around a lot. For example, 5.1.2. What does the third number mean? The third number is very simple. It is height. It's because of new technologies. Even before Atmos was around, some companies, including Yamaha, we have been playing around with a thing called presence, where we add 2 additional speakers in the front or at the back to increase the sound field, to make the sound stage wider, to make it more enveloping, to increase the better experience for you. And nowadays with Atmos, you will need height speakers for that. That's where the third number comes in. So when somebody says to you, hey, wow, I just set up a new home theater system, a very good one, a 5.1.2. What he means, he has 5 speakers on the ground, 1 subwoofer, and 2 height speakers, right? And when another person comes to you, wow, my one even better than yours, my numbers are bigger, I got 7.2.4. What does it mean? It means he has 7 speakers on the ground, 2 subwoofers, and 4 height speakers. Once you get used to it, it's actually very easy. So, just now I was talking about the height channels, right? And I was talking about Dolby Atmos. So what is Dolby Atmos? Actually, this technology came out from Dolby Laboratories almost 10 years ago, 2012. Started out in the home theaters, started out in the commercial theaters. And the special thing about Dolby is that it is an object-based sound system. So what it means, usually surround sound is directional, you know, sound coming from the front, sound coming from the rear. But with object-based, the idea is that you are able to pinpoint within your sound field where the object is, so you can tell that the helicopter is hovering from, you know, from your right, from your left, going over to your right, or the bullets are going from the front to the back of you, because they are object-based. And how does that come into this? So how do you position speakers for things like Atmos or a similar technology called DTS-X. That's where height speakers come in, the third number. And where do you position them? So there are two main ways to do it. One, the easier way would be to simply add height speakers above your left and right channel and your rear left, rear right. So what happens is, for example, you have your center, left, right, on the floor, usually floor standing speakers or bookshelf, on the floor, and then above them you add two. That's the easiest way. The best way is to add ceiling speakers, like we have them here. So if you come down to our AV Experience Studio here at Plaza Singapura, you can actually experience how Atmos is like if you have them on your ceiling. So this is the advantage of Yamaha AV receivers, because putting ceiling speakers is very difficult. But I can hear you. You say, but I want Atmos, but my ceiling a bit short, or no false ceiling, a bit hard to put ceiling speakers. Fair enough. Then all you need to do is to add the height speakers, either in front or preferably both in front and at the back. All right. So this is how you get the Atmos effect. Can you get Atmos effect without the height speakers? You can, but of course, if you want to get the maximum enjoyment out of it, the best is to add height channels. And if you think about it, with this, it gives you a more 3D experience, right? Because the old system is, if you think about it, it's all 2D. You have your center, left, right, rear left, rear right speakers, and your subwoofer, but they're all on the front plane. If you add the height speakers, it becomes 3D. So this is real 3D sound. And nowadays, we talk about wireless speakers. The biggest problem a lot of people face, a lot of our customers face, is the rear speakers, because you have to pull wire from the front all the way to the back. And if you're moving into a new house and you're doing renovation, that's fine, right? Easy. But what if you already have an existing room, and let's say you're running out spend money on adding unsightly wires, or adding a false ceiling or false walls just to pull the wires to the back. With Yamaha systems, for the rear speakers, you can use wireless speakers. So your center, left, right, and your subwoofer are all wired as per normal, but the rear speakers, you can use the rear left and the rear right, you can use wireless. All you need is a power plug for each of the speakers and your setup. Full surround sound up to 5.1.2 with wireless rear speakers with Yamaha AV receivers. And this is part of the MusicCast system. What is MusicCast? MusicCast is Yamaha's multi-room streaming system. So it is, it's not just for streaming or just for linking devices together. As you can see with our Yamaha AV receivers, even the non-AVENTAGE series like the V4 and the V6, you can use rear wireless speakers as well using MusicCast, right? But with MusicCast, it makes things so much easier. Using your phone, you download the free app. Anybody at home with a phone, with a tablet, you download the free app and you can control all the MusicCast products in the house. You can control the volume, you can control what music they're playing, and then if you have multiple MusicCast products, you can create your own zones. So when you have friends over, you want to spread the same song across all your devices across your entire house, you can link all your MusicCast devices together. Or you can create different zones, So your living room and kitchen might be playing a song, but your study room might be playing something else. And it's all very easily controlled through your phone. And most of our AV receivers have MusicCast as well. So, example, if you're watching soccer, nowadays soccer also got surround sound like, but you need to go toilet. Oh, very sure. So you have a MusicCast speakers in your toilet, you can link the sound together. So wow, the live soccer match is playing on the screen, you can go and do your business in the toilet and you can hear what's going on live. So something like that, something like that. MusicCast is very easy to use, the interface is very beautiful as well. And yeah, more and more customers are learning about the benefits of MusicCast. So while you're here, remember to follow us on social media. You can just scan this QR code here to like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram as well. And using this link, you can also view our full catalog for Yamaha Singapore, and you can find the location of our store as well. Yeah. Okay. So now straight on to our AV receivers. We have two main ranges of AV receivers. We have the V series and the A series. I like to use the Toyota and Lexus comparison. So with the V series, they are like Toyota, right? They get all the basics right. If you want an AV receiver with MusicCast, they can do wireless rear surround, they can do MusicCast streaming, they can do MusicCast linking, and get beautiful sound as well. You can start with the V series. With the V4 and the V6, both are 5.2 and 7.2 channel receivers respectively. If you want something simple, no frills, not too expensive, a good starting point, go for the V series. Then we have the A series. This is the Lexus of our AVR lineup. So what's the difference, right? The difference is in the details. And for Yamaha, when we talk about true sound, for AV receivers, we always talk about three things. We talk about tonal balance, we talk about dynamics, and we also talk about sound image. Now, what sets AVENTAGE AV receivers apart, not only from the V series, but from everything else on the market? So, for the new A series, symmetrical structure. This is a legacy of our high-end audiophile products, where the circuitry are split, and the circuitry for each channel is symmetrical. This way, at the end of the day, sound for receivers and amplifiers is all about electricity, and it's all about reducing interference and noise. So when the channels are separated in an equivalent way, symmetrically, you reduce interference between one another, right? So this is one of the main things. And for this new AVENTAGE series, we have changed our PCB boards, the main silicon board that all the electronics are connected to. In the past, we used single layer PCBs. Now we use multi-layer PCBs. So the cost is exponentially higher than single layer PCBs, but the benefits are much better. In terms of electronics, in terms of signal path, you shorten the signal path. Ideally, your audio signal, you want it to go through as little circuitry, as little wires, as little circuitry as possible. So with this setup, all the components, they can tap into power and they tap into the ground using the shortened distance possible, right? And also we use high quality components. For our A series, the A4 and above, we use ESS Saber DACs or digital analog converters for high quality conversion. And unfortunately, I don't have a demo set to open up and show you, but you can find pictures. For example, you can visit our website here, go to the link, and you can find the image on it. But the transformers on these are huge. For sound, weight is important. Weight is sometimes a good sign of a good product. So in this case, like we talk about our highest end, the A6 and the A8. The transformer alone is almost 7 kg, it's 6.7 kilograms. You know, some dumbbells are like only up to 5 kilos. The transformer alone is huge. But that means that there's a lot of headroom. There's a lot of reserve power for the system to draw on when you have exciting moments, you know, sudden explosions and things like that. And I mean, weight is just one factor. How you play around with what's inside the transformer also matters. So like in this case, our new transformers, we have dual circuitry. So in the past, you have a single circuit going to all the different parts of the AV receiver. So now we have separate wiring to go to voltage amplification and current amplification. Again, this way you get less crosstalk, you get less interference with each other, so you get better quality sound. Our block capacitors are customized purely for this, and also we are using high quality German Weimar film capacitors, right? And these capacitors are not normal 3-pin capacitors, these are 5-pin capacitors. So what's the difference? Because capacitors, they heat up quite quickly. Now, for cheaper capacitors, the temperature sensor is outside. But that means that by the time the system detects that the film capacitor is hot and corrects for it, there's already a lag. So instead, we got capacitors with the thermal sensing device on the capacitors themselves. This way, we know the change as it happens and the system is able to compensate for it immediately. Right? So with this, you get tonal balance. Your instruments sound accurate, your voices sound distinct, they sound natural. They sound very beautiful. And for dynamics, we have quite a few changes as well. First of all, the amplifiers. Again, it's too bad I don't have the actual set to show you, but they're beautiful. And they're separated very far from each other, both channels, right? This is a patent pending amplifier. These are high slew rate amplifiers. So what's so special about high slew rate amplifiers? It means that these amplifiers, they can react very quickly to changes. For example, you're in a quiet scene, you know, where people are talking, and then out of the blue, the car crashes into the scene. You have loud explosions everywhere. These sudden changes, you need an amplifier that's able to react to the changes very quickly. So you have high slew rate amplifiers. Then why don't AV receivers in general use such amplifiers? Because they are generally unstable. We have worked together with our partners to come up with a patent pending system that has both high slew rate and is stable. So this helps improve dynamics. And also, as you can see, this is chunky, it is beautiful, it is thick, it is heavy. Rigidity is very important in an AV receiver. Any unwanted vibrations, and all electronics, by their nature, they hum, they vibrate, even on a tiny level that is not measurable by you and me, right? So Yamaha engineers use laser measuring. I can't remember the exact name of it, but basically they use like $500,000 worth of laser detectors to detect vibrations in the system and try to remove them as much as possible. So you have thick metal plates at the bottom, you have rigid metal plates at the side and the top, and you have a H frame and a new bar, what do you call it again? A bar on top of this to improve the whole, much like a car, you know. So when you drive, you want your car to be rigid so it doesn't warp as you're turning around corners. Same for this. The more rigid it is, the less vibrations you have, right? So with this new, much more rigid system, they have decreased the vibration by, I think, from what I understand, almost 90%. Beautiful. And one more thing, very special, is the fifth leg, right here. Most AVRs have 4 legs, as per normal. Anything boxy tend to have 4 legs. Yamaha AV receivers always have a 5th leg. The old receivers used to be in the center. Now, this is to provide support, again, to prevent vibrations from spreading through the system and creating noise and all that. So this foot, they brought it after they added it into the old system, and they did more research. They realized that actually it would be better to bring it forward and to put it straight underneath the transformer. So that way the transformer gets its own support and you get a much more rigid structure to prevent vibrations from going about the whole system, destroying the sound. And there's isolation as well. So one way to reduce the vibration is to isolate the components that produce said vibrations. So our transformer and the amps, they are isolated from the rest of the body on their own struts. And these are all very rigid struts. Again, I wish I could show you. Visit our website, right? You can scan here, go to the catalog, and you can have a look at the beautiful pictures inside of the internal system of our AV receivers. So with this, you get fantastic dynamics from our AV receivers. You know, the differences between silence, even silence sound dynamic, and the difference between silence and noise is very dynamic, right? And then we talk about sound image. One of the biggest change that we have, especially from our A4 series onwards, is a new CPU. We have worked together with Qualcomm. This is the QCS407 system on chip. This CPU is 7 times more powerful than the previous CPU used on our AV receivers. And with this, you get much more better 64-bit processing. You get much finer details. And with this, you get, there's this thing called AI surround, which I'll go into a little bit later, right? You get much more powerful processing at the end of the day. This helps make a much more natural sounding sound field for your home theater system. And the good thing about this CPU is that it has, quite cheap this one, field programmable field array. That means it's possible that in the future, any new technologies can be introduced into existing systems using a firmware. So it is possible, again, depending on the implementation and the technology, to add functionality in the future because of this chip. And such this is what NASA uses. So they are able to move around like literal programming blocks within the chip to get new functionality out of existing equipment. So it's pretty fantastic. And not forgetting auto calibration. Yamaha's YPAO system makes it very easy to get all this wonderful sound. And this is also in our V series as well, and even in some of our sound bars. All you need to do is get the microphone, put it at your sitting position, and let the system run its course, and it will calibrate for you. You can make adjustments that you like afterwards as well. And for the higher end receivers like the A6 and the A8, it goes one step further. It has a system where you can do 3D measurements to make it even more accurate, right? So all this together, they help you build a fantastic sound field, a fantastic sound stage for your home theater system, right? So this is it, and this is what sets the Yamaha AVENTAGE AV receivers apart, not only from the V series, but from our competitors as well. All right, so hopefully you'll find out we are here at the Yamaha AV Experience Studio at Plaza Singapura 06-02. You can come down anytime. We're open 7 days a week, even on public holidays, 12 to 9 p.m. And you can come down and sit yourself down into our cozy chairs and watch a movie and experience the AVENTAGE. Okay, so I hope that I was able to not only answer some of your basic questions about home theater system, but to maybe give you a glimpse into why our AVENTAGE AV receivers are worlds apart from what's available out there. And I guess we can now go into Q&A.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Sure. Q&A. One moment. Let me send it to you.
I need your help.
Yes.
I need the iPad.
Where's your iPad?
Good question. So in the meantime, maybe you can get a quick 3 minutes break while I look for my iPad.
Yeah. I sent it to you.
Okay, Ken. We'll come back later for the Q&A. Give us 3 minutes, yeah?
Are you going to show the inside of the...
No.
No.
Yeah.
Use your iPad. Okay, just use my phone. Yeah.
Use your phone. Okay. Will do. Okay, we'll start in about 2 minutes.
Okay.
So now it's 7:27. So in the meantime, while you're still here, remember to scan this QR code, like us, follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and feel free to ask any questions. My colleagues will be taking on the questions to ask me later, so you can ask me anything about home theater, about how to set up a home theater system, about some of the common questions we have about soundbars versus the traditional home theater system. Why should I get this set up when I can get a soundbar and all that? So ask. This is what I'm here for. Okay? Take this opportunity to ask whatever questions you like. And I'll be starting soon. Ah, my iPad. So you're sending me notes here?
Yep.
Keep the questions coming, keep the questions flowing. Don't be shy, don't be shy. Good. I see good questions coming in. Ask all your questions now. Again, if you haven't already liked us on Facebook, please like us on Facebook. If you haven't already followed us on Instagram, please follow us on Instagram, right? And if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel, okay? Keep them coming, keep them coming. Maybe you can send me the first batch first so I can start answering. As you can see, this is a team effort. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank my colleagues here
Wait.
for helping out to make this possible, to make it less stressful for me.
Okay.
You have no idea how stressful it is to go live, yeah? Not easy. But they made it easy for us. Hey, don't you see that? I say that only so my boss laugh at me. Walao.
Okay. Send. Check.
Send, huh? Okay. Steady lah. Got it. We shall start. Are there any differences in setting up my system for gaming versus home theater? In my personal experience, no. My experience is that if there is any lag when it comes to gaming, usually it's on the TV side. So you might have to check with the settings there. That being said, there are a few gaming related features not yet available in our AV receivers, but they will be launching with future firmware updates. We're not sure when the exact dates are, but you can look forward to that. However, in the meantime, in my experience, if you're a console gamer or even a PC gamer, I used to connect my PC to my old V677 Yamaha AV receiver. No issues with lag. So my understanding and my experience is that there should not be any difference between setting up your home theater system for gaming or for movies, right? And if you find that there is a bit of lag, between the sound coming out and what you're seeing on screen, usually it's an adjustment that you need to make on the TV, right? Also, can you tell me more about virtual height compared to real height speaker effects? Real speakers are better. Long story short, because virtual speakers are basically the AV receiver and the algorithms and our sound engineers playing around with physics, right? And trying to do almost what's impossible. And we have really done it. Like for Yamaha soundbars, we have two sound projector soundbars, the YSP2700 and the YSP5600 that is able to give, that's why they are award winning, you can check them out. They are able to give, what's the word? A very good experience for surround sound with just having a soundbar right in front. And this is a Yamaha original, started by us. We started this trend. So for home theater receivers, if you are unable to put high speakers or ceiling speakers, you can do virtual height virtualization in our AV receivers, and it will help expand the sound field a little bit, giving you some impression of height. However, of course, the best experience, it does not beat having actual speakers to provide the additional height experience. So virtual is basically making do with what you have to give you as best as experience as possible. Of course, the best thing is to have actual speakers for height. Yeah, I've been using A1010 for the past 10 years, no issue, fantastic. And this is something I forgot to talk about. There are two things that you often hear about AV receivers. One is what you won't hear. You usually don't hear Yamaha products running hot, right? You can see it's so big. There's a lot of room here for air to flow in. And not only that, like for our new Yamaha AV receivers, based on the spec by the HDMI chip manufacturers, no heatsink required. But Yamaha put very thick, chunky heatsinks on the Yamaha chips, on the HDMI chipsets for AV receivers, right? So when it comes to this, Yamaha is super conservative. They overbuild, they over-engineer. That's why they last so long. And as our friend here said, the A1010, which is basically the first generation of AVENTAGE, 10 years ago, 11 years, 11 years ago. Until now, still working fine. So this is a long-term investment, decent price, 1-year warranty and all that. Huh? Okay. Why is the bass so low after running YPAO? Okay, this one, a little bit tricky. There might be many reasons for that. I won't be able to go into it here, so what you can do is you PM us directly and we'll try and work this out with you, okay? So YPAO generally works 99% of the time, but occasionally, maybe because of the acoustics of the room and things like that, you may find certain quirks here and there. Most important is that YPAO is not hard, it's not fixed. You can let the system set automatically and then you can make your fine adjustments later if you want. So to the individual who asked this question, PM us directly, then we'll try to be so that we can better diagnose, especially how should I say it? So that we can better understand your situation and understand why this happened. Yeah, we can better diagnose it better. Do you trade in for A1010 for A60? Can trade in for $0. No lah, I'm sorry. we don't. Right, as of right now, we don't have any trading programs at the moment. So yeah, maybe you can keep it. use it as part of a separate sound system for another room, or you can pass it on to your children, you know. Yeah. So, okay. AVENTAGE Rock having A1080 still working great. Fantastic. That's what we like to hear. Okay.
One more question.
One more question. One more question.
I'll send it to you. Okay.
Okay, got it. How much would a 7.1.4 system cost? How much would a 7.1.4 system cost? Oh, a bit hard to answer, but first things first, you need, based on the system, you need at least a 9-channel setup. Because, okay, how to tell how many channels you need, okay? So in this case, 5.1.4. The 0.1, because normally subwoofers are powered speakers, the AV receiver does not need to power the subwoofers, they do it on their own. It just needs to send a low frequency signal to them. So generally, to find out how many channels you need for your AV RA, you take the first and the last number. So like in your case, you want to set up a 7.1.4 setup, you'll need at least 11 channels, 7 plus 4, right? So we have the new AVENTAGE 11 channel system has not been launched. I don't have the price for that. That will be the RX A8A, okay? I don't have a price for that yet, so I can't really estimate that in. But based on that, you sort of calculate in lah. So basically, you need 5 ground speakers, 4 presence or ceiling speakers. Normally, the ceiling speakers are cheaper. For me, you'll want to spend most of your money on the center, left, and right speakers, because that's where the most important everything comes out. Most of the dynamics, most of the voice work and things like that come out from the center, left, and right. All the other speakers are there to help build the immersion and to give you the effects. So I can't really give you a setup cost for that at the moment. But what you can do is you can PM us, then we can figure out the type of system, the type of speakers and the type of system that you like, and we can give you a rough estimate from there. Yeah, but definitely take note, if you want to set up a 7.1.4 system, you need an AV receiver for 11 channels. So for example, our A4, which is 7 channels, 7.2, it won't work because you're missing 2 channels. If you want to do 5.1.2, then you can, because that's 7 channels, yeah? So PM us, okay? Any more questions? How are you guys today? Friday night. How many of you are thinking of building your own home theater system in the near future? Maybe you can raise your hand or like or something like that. And maybe tell us what's holding you back. Is it because the speaker, you think that it might be too big, too inconvenient, or you know, and all that? Let us know. Let's see how we can help you. I'm here live right now, so all your questions I can answer straight off the bat. Make use of my time here with you. So maybe in the meantime, I can go through our full range instead of just telling you what's so special about them. For the V series, we have 2 models. Thank goodness. Now our range of AV receivers are simplified. You know, you don't have 11 or 15 models, and it's very confusing. So right now, the V series, we have 2 main models. We have the V4 and the V6. The V4 is a 5.2 channel AV receiver. The V6 is a 7.2 channel AV receiver. So if you want something simple, not too expensive, a good entry level system, consider the V4. Excuse me, or the V6. Let me get a drink. Whew. Talking non-stop for what? 40 minutes, definitely makes your mouth dry. So after the V4 and the V6, you have the A series. The A series, there are a total of 4 models, 3 of which are available right now. Okay, you have the A2, 4, 6, 8. Very easy, right? Okay. The A8 has not been launched. We're waiting for it to be launched. So from the A2 going up, A2 and A4 both are 7.2 channel AV receivers. The A6 is 9.2 channel, and the A8, which will be launched hopefully soon. The delay is because of the COVID-19 situation. The A8, when it launches, it will be an 11.2 channel system. All right. And why is the A2 and the A4 both 7.2? So how will you pick them apart? The components. The A2 is what I will call, so the A2 is basically still using generally the, how would I say it? The profile or the foundation I should say, of the V6 with better components, slight improvements here and there. You do get better sound. In fact, like there are a couple of times where I have customers coming in and they were set on a lower priced model. And you know, based on their budget and based on what they tell me, they wanted a lower price one. So my job is to get them to get the lower price one. But after hearing the difference, for example, between the V6 and the A2, they decided to get the A2. All these small little things, you know, on paper it can look like, at the end of the day, it's all wires and things like that. They do actually make a difference in terms of sound. So the difference between the A2 and the A4, again, is the jump will be bigger, hence the price. Let's put it this way, the weight of the A2 is about 10 kilograms, the weight of the A4, 16. So both are 7.2 channels, the wattage is quite similar per channel, and yet, you know, it is 60% heavier. And this is where all the different components I was talking about comes in. You have the chunkier power transformer, you have the bigger amplifiers, you have the thicker metal boards, the support structure, the struts and things like that are much better, and hence they improve the sound of the A4. That's it? Yeah. Any more questions? No more, huh? Okay. It's almost 7:45. Thank you for your time. Thank you for giving me 45 minutes of your time on a Friday night, no less. I hope you found this session informative and useful for you. Again, I'm here at the Yamaha AV Experience Studio here in Plaza Singapura. We are at 06-02. You can come in here and try out all our different products. You can sit in and test our home entertainment system. You can try our surround sound bars. You can try our audio receivers, our power speakers. You can see what our wireless rear surround looks like, and you can even try out our high fidelity audio systems. Yeah. So again, Yamaha AV Experience Studio, Plaza Singapura 06-02. And I hope to see you here again soon. Bye-bye. Oh, our next live show is on 12th of November. And what are we going to talk about? It's going to be a surprise. So why don't you come in to find out? Yeah, so I'll see you on the 12th of November, 2021. All right? See you again soon. Bye-bye.